Hey guys, my name is Jess, and usually I do different kind of content. I hope you don't mind, but I do gaming and I do a lot of spiritual content. I stream on Twitch mostly, and then every now and then I want to do like a YouTube vlog. So today was kind of unique. I had a biopsy today. I was going for a second opinion, and my thyroid nodule had grown since I think my last visit was in April to 2 centimeters, or so we thought. So I was really devastated by this news, because it's like, okay, well, is there a plan? Are we doing anything? Are we doing another biopsy if it's grown? And I was told no, that it wasn't needed, and I can, carry on and we'll just observe it in like 3 to 6 months again. So that really frustrates me, because you're constantly put in a surveillance mode in the field, which I get it, because we're monitoring, because we're checking to see if it's cancer, which is hard to deal with, just that thought alone. So I ended up, being really devastated. I think the 24th I had the doctor's appointment, and my social ring of friends kind of deteriorated also that week. I guess everybody was going through it, and I wasn't really mentally there, because I'm internally categorizing mortality and trying to find my peace within the ideas and like further planning and this and that, right? I was very disconnected, and that makes sense. Whenever you go for a medical test, until it's you don't know how that feels, right? So one of the craziest things that happened was I was able to get a second opinion really quick. If you know how hard it is to get into an endocrinologist's office, it is very difficult. So I spent the day taking referrals from friends of who to go to, and I got an appointment for December 4th, which is today. So I got a second biopsy, which we're definitely on the right path of checking again, because I was told that there was calcifications, and come to find out, this doctor was really straightforward. She didn't agree with the findings of the ENT, and she noted that she would be taking over my surveillance of my thyroid, which I'm like, fine, that's great. But we did talk about plans. If it comes back benign, then great, then we'll just like wait a year or two and then rescan. But if it is, then we go into sending out the lab for further testing, the samples and stuff, which made me feel comfortable. Now I know there's like steps, right? Instead of just like falling off into despair about what could be, what might be happening. And if you're going through this, like, like it is not fun at all. So yeah, this is where I had my my biopsy done. Now, regarding my friendship circle, man, dude, that I never felt so betrayed in my life. I'm dealing with the trust issues of my doctor, and not really believing what he's saying, and how he didn't spend any time with me. Then like catalyst to my friends telling me that they had complaints of me being dismissive, and it's like, no fucking shit. I mean, let me take on more of the weight of the world while I'm dealing with my own mortality, and how to fix your despair. And that was a heavy expectation, and luckily for me, I'm not gonna be in that anymore. I recognize that I don't feel like I understand that mindset, and I feel like that mindset alone is one that I wouldn't prefer moving forward, right? Like, our ideas, our beliefs are then challenged, and then it goes back to, well, do I prefer that vibration? Do I prefer that kind of mindset? Because I stand in my truth a lot of the time. You're not going to make me feel bad for taking care of myself. You're not going to make me feel bad for going within, and you're not going to make me feel bad and say that I wasn't a good friend when I know I know I'm a good friend. My throat really hurts from that biopsy. But it's just something I have to say because I think it's so unfair, you know, and it was so heartless and so unexpected. But like when you think about it, like we're going through a new moon phase right now. The energy was different. I had a bunch of healings too that focused on like my chakra systems, and the healer was telling me how she felt particularly, and it was a Metatron healing, so through the archangels, that there was a lot of energy in the back of my head, and all of a sudden, like as soon as that got released, all these little issues came up, like, and it was so weird because I'm like, oh, okay, like these are things I do not prefer, I don't value anymore, like I don't see the point. Now let me like move through this, let me be happy, let me be who I'm supposed to be without fear of people like judging me or like making me out to be something I'm not, when I'm just like this regular person that has a house, has a husband, has a dog. You know, I go to a place of healing every now and then, and I try to do spiritual streams when I'm up and available to do it. But then it was like, where's my passion? Like, where has that been? Like, where has the energy been flowing, you know? So I'm hoping this all flows in a more positive manner. And, you know, if you stream and you find yourself in these friend groups that just don't value you, just move on from them. Like, it's okay. And I hate to put it in the perspective of like, well, they're just online, but really define your definitions. What do you believe a friend is? What do you believe support means? What do you believe is the expectation you put on others and yourself when you enter into a relationship of this kind and caliber? Even with your spouses and your significant others, like, what's the expectation? Like, how'd you get to this point? You know, years of friendship, years of whatever, and you feel like you hardly know the person. I can't laugh that much, it really hurts. If you are going through a thyroid journey like me, you know, feel free to share. I think it's part of healing. You know, the thyroid energetically is about being able to express yourself without any judgment and without people, you know, scrutinizing you and making you feel little, you know. And I think it's hard in this day and age to really exercise your thyroid potential, and your throat chakra, but do it. I mean, don't be a troll, but speak your truth. You know, speak it freely, you know. And that's how I feel. I felt like, man, years of friendship, and then you start to think about the red flags. You're like, oh yeah, that person used to do that wasn't fun, but I never, you know, made them feel bad about it, you know. And then you think about like other things they did that you were just not cool with, and then it's the realization that, you know, there was broken communication at the end. So rejection is protection, and if anything, you know, I believe in self-preservation of one's peace, and this is what you have to do to heal, and this is what I have to do to heal. And I hope you guys stay tuned for more content. I do. I don't know if you'll be around for my live streams. They're kind of okay. I mean, I can get rowdy too with like different games. I'm going to try to bring it to a different level. I really want to project more positivity and more wholesome content, and like maybe go over more like spiritual things in the future, because I think that's important still. I still do. I always felt that. But it's just like when you're in a position of always giving and giving and giving, people will take. And so it's about boundaries, and it's about not over exhausting your well, you know. And if there's a balanced energy return, you know, people are throwing bits or like giving you bits for readings and stuff like that, that helps, because at least you know you're not just like exhausting and going the distance for somebody that is expecting that every time they come in, you know, and they keep taking and taking and taking. I just feel like the energy just wasn't there. But it exhausted me, to be honest. It exhausted me always doing the readings like that. And then, you know, it was always that, well, do you know your worth? And I'm like, yeah, I know my worth, but I feel like this is something that people should explore and not have to pay so much because other readers pay so much. I mean, charge so much. But at the end of the day, like, I learned my lesson. If I'm going to do more with it and I'm going to do more private readings, like, I'll set it up, and I'm reasonable with, like, pricing too. I don't even think, like, I think a half hour I was charging people like $30 to $60 depending on, like, you know, how many questions they were asking, or what they wanted to know, or how many people we were contacting, because it can be like a little bit extensive on me. If I like just do a free-for-all, you know, any spirit comes in, you know. So it's like, then you have people that are like, well, I don't know them, and they take it like to a literal sense. And yes, I went to school and I took classes for evidential mediumship, but still, you know, you get what you get at the end of the day. And it's based on people's ability to perceive it and their openness. If you have somebody that doesn't believe in readings, it's hard to, you know, get through. I'm sure something will come through, but they may not be accepting of it because they're not ready to communicate with that spirit yet, or, you know, hear that what that message is. So we're gonna wrap it up. I feel like you guys have to follow your own passions, trust your own gut, and do whatever you need to do not to worry. In the words of my grandma, give ulcers, don't get them. And if somebody belittles you and is constantly talking down to you, or, you know, making it sound like a really bad dig, don't tolerate that. Just don't. It's not worth your energy to always be the punching bag for somebody else's depression or insecurities. You know, the depth of the matter is you're worth more, and your integrity and your morals and values are definitely where they need to be, and you're a good person. So I just want to tell people that you are all loved. All right, you guys. I love you all. My name is Jess. You can come by Twitch. I'd love to meet you. And yeah. All right. Take care. Bye.